In this tutorial, I'll introduce you to a concept of modular design. What is a modular design, you might ask? According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, definition of modular is, quote, constructed with standardized units, or dimensions for flexibility and variety in use, quote. When we're designing 3D objects that way, we can design the mesh pieces that are made to fit together. So we can, not only reuse the modular meshes multiple times, but we can also create a variety of completely different and unique models. This is how the game model designers and level designers work throughout. They base their designs in modular way, so they don't have to repeat the process, nor spend unnecessary time on modeling nor arranging meshes that can be reused. By doing so, ourselves, we can save great amount of time and efforts. Here are some of the examples. These mounted guns, that I will explain in detail how I made them in later tutorials, today, were created in a modular way, and therefore they can turn into many different types of mounted guns, depending on what barrels or magazine types that I add to the collection. Look at the mount. We can use that mount for a lot of things, when we're designing a complex 3D scene or a game. And just by introducing the unique types of the magazines and duplicating the rest of the gun meshes, I was able to create new mounted gun meshes at a fraction of time. In the future, I'll introduce you to the field of computer programming. The programming language will move your 3D models any way you like after a button press, and by doing so, you'll be able to create 2D and 3D games at will. Anything you can wish for, can be designed by Blender, and be produced as games as you design them. This modular concept exists in programming as well. They're known as modular programming. It's slightly different from the term modules used in programming, because what we're doing is just the way we're designing 3D modular parts in the collection, we're storing programming codes doing specific things like moving a character or jumping. All in the collection, that is. So that we can just copy and paste the codes, and reuse them in later game projects. For now, let's look at some of the examples and see what can we do to enable modular design to the meshes. Let's look at these mounted guns. Their barrels look the same. So are their main bodies. What if we add one more barrel and modify the rest of the mesh parts? Then that would be a different mesh. By using this drum magazine, this mounted gun has become a new mesh that can be used in different ways. Think of a tower defense game where these mounted guns are placed, automatically rotated to aim and shoot at the enemies. These drum magazines can act as an upgraded gun that can shoot further and with a higher rate of speed. So that's the basis of modular design. Basically, we design a mesh and come up with different idea to upgrade or use replacement parts in order to give an illusion to the viewer that we've designed all of them from scratch. Now you know what modular design is, you'll start to notice them while you're playing games or watching 3D animation movies. You'll be able to tell what part of the scene were modular designed and realize how you were able to tell. Let's look at other examples. We have this car mesh. We can save great amount of time and efforts. If we were to create a city filled with traffic, would we want to design a new car mesh from scratch? Absolutely not. What we would rather be doing is changing colors of the cars and modifying the overall shapes to create modular parts that can be combined to create an entirely new mesh. That will give more realism to the scene. And that will be much better than filling the street with the same car with the same color that were copied and pasted dozens of times. Just a simple modification like this can make this mesh unique. This is again, modular design. If we were to create a fleet of spacecrafts flying in space, unless they're from the same squadron, we wouldn't want to fill the scene with identical-looking spacecrafts. Then how do we turn the existing mesh like this into a modular mesh? We can divide them apart by selecting and separating by using the P key as in Peter. Another method is dividing them and filling the hole with F as in Frank, and duplicating that newly created face to make other modular meshes. Because the new face that was generated from a detached mesh will serve as a perfect modular part that will fit to that original mesh perfectly. That's how we design the modular parts in 3D. That will be much faster and accurate than designing a new plane or cube and trying to scale it to make it fit as a modular mesh. For example, we can detach this canopy area and turn it into a new mesh. We'll save the original canopy mesh as a modular mesh, of course. We'll be duplicating them to make modular mesh parts. We only need to watch out, not to touch for the original connecting mesh or face, that will be used to connect the modular part to the main mesh. This mesh was designed modular way, and its wings were already separated. I'll show you how easily it can be flipped and turned into a new design. There we go. If we repaint this mesh, then it can serve as a new unit in our 3D scene or game. Finally, I've shown you the first concept of modular design by creating this Lego Commando character. It took me about 40 minutes to design the original Lego character and another 50 minutes to design the modular parts. Imagine what would happen if I had 50 different Lego faces that can be applied as materials. 50 vest meshes. 50 helmets. 50 gun meshes. 50 knee meshes and so on. Then we'll be able to create 50 times 50 times 50 times 50 times 50 times and so on, amount of new meshes at a fraction of time. The meshes with all unique looks. The modular way is the way we need to take when designing 3D meshes and games. Speaking of games, I'll post the first Construct 2 tutorial today. My apology for slow updates. I used to post up to 5 tutorial videos daily, but now my tutorials are getting longer, and the speech part is taking me much longer to produce the new tutorial videos. I'll focus on the quality of the tutorials, than quantity. Please like and subscribe, if you have enjoyed watching this tutorial. Thank you for watching.